Things just got worse and worse and worse as the night went on. Again, valiant effort down the stretch for the Bucs. Just too little, too late. Let's go down and let's see what Coach Fletch and the rest of the crew has to say. As always, go Bulls. So let's head into the locker room right now and see what the guys have to say about that one. Wow. Where do the Buccaneers go from here? What an incredible atmosphere. What a good win for the Tampa Bay Lightning. They snapped a 7-game winning streak. How we feeling, Bucs Nation? It's time to party, baby.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Recher podcast. Happy October 23rd, 2025 to you and yours, whether you're watching this here in the Tampa Bay area or not in the Tampa Bay area, out and abroad, all over the country. Shout out to Aunt Renee and Uncle Rich. I know they're watching somewhere down in Port Charlotte. I love you guys, and I appreciate everybody here that is always watching the show and supporting. I could not do this without you guys. Benny, of course, number one on the list today, DT, and then Janet Best. Great Thursday to all. Go Bolts. I am not at Benchmark International Arena today. I actually have some baseball stuff that I have to do. We got a big tournament this weekend. I got a crazy schedule. Tournament out in Davenport in the morning, and then coming back for Sticks and Stools Saturday at 4 o'clock, then the game, then over to Al Lang for the Rowdies game, and then Sunday back out to the baseball field, back out to Benchmark International Arena after that. It's a wild and crazy weekend for yours truly. So cannot wait. Wouldn't have it any other way. Got a lot of great things going on, and I hope you guys are, you have a great weekend ahead of you as well. Shout out to Rolly and Lady Evil and Robert Cochran. Can the Bulls get a win? You got that right as well. So not at Benchmark. I will not be at the game tonight, but hopefully the Lightning can get back on track and get back to their winning ways. Dominic James called up. He's going to make his NHL debut tonight, so I like that. Getting some different legs, different players in there, some fresh legs, and we'll see how that works out for our Tampa Bay Lightning. A lot to get into on the program today. You see these stories with these coaches? Oh my God, Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier arrested from the FBI from gambling on games. And this is, listen, we've seen this before, and you have to know things like this are going to happen with betting and gambling a lot more prevalent. Saying that take the under on some of his stuff and then coming out after 9 minutes. I mean, it's not a surprise. We'll get into that a little bit later on. Carlos Baserva in the house, Robert Cochran as well. What do we have on the program today? A whole hell of a lot. We'll start the program today in a couple minutes, joined by an absolute legend when it comes to our Tampa Bay sports. Tampa Bay Rowdies legend Leo Fernandes joins us. Going to talk about his career. We announced it on the show yesterday at 2 o'clock. He has announced his retirement after 9 years with the Rowdies, 13 years professionally. We're going to talk about his career. We're going to talk about the decision to retire and what's next for him. 12:30, our weekly Evara Health Injury Report with Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. How long does he think Mike Evans is going to be out? What did he think when he saw Mike down on the turf there? It was very, very scary. Very scary. 1 o'clock, our buddy Denard Span stops by to preview the World Series and talk about his big event coming up with the Denard Span Foundation. That's 2 weeks from today. And I'll be a part of that as well. Cannot wait for that. The latest news from One Buc at about 1:25 after we hear everything going on at the Advent Health Training Center. Also, Lightning looking to get back on track, and then coaches making history. I just alluded to that as well. Rigged poker games at Damon. Wow, man. Some crazy stuff. Rigged poker games from Damon Jones, who was with the Heat and with the Cavaliers, and Chauncey Billups, they were involved in from the U.S. Attorney press conference. There was x-ray machines built into the tables to read face-down cards, contact lenses and glasses that read pre-marked cards, and secret cameras and card trays. Holy shit, man. That's pretty wild. That's next level. That really is next level. No doubt about it. Eddie Hirata in the house. Good morning, Recher. Familia Magic beat my Heat. Good game. Cats and Bolts play tonight. LFG. Why is everything going on in Miami right now? And then Greg the Cruz, man. Go Jays. NBA stuff is crazy, Carlos. You are right, man. This is nuts. Unbelievable to see all of these things that are going on. Sports betting, rigged poker games, backed by the mafia. Yikes. It's wild, man. Really, really wild stuff. But again, you open the door for things like this, and this is what's going to happen. World Series starts on Friday, 8 o'clock. There, north of the border, the Blue Jays hosting the Dodgers. That place is going to be rocking. So, looking good for the Jays. Not a Jays fan by any means, but this is a team that's been waiting. They've been battling. They really put this entire team together. They tried to build this team the right way, drafting, and developing Vlad and Bo Bichette and Kevin Biggio at the time. And obviously, ironically enough, Kevin's gone. Bo Bichette's been banged up, but it's been Vladdy leading the way. And you get a bunch of guys that play the game the right way. The Ernie Clements of the world, the Isaiah Kiner-Falefa's of the world, and Alejandro Kirk. That's what I love about baseball, man. You get so many different guys, different body shapes. It's pretty crazy. Everybody doesn't look like they're carved out of granite. That's baseball for you. Guys, make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe as well. Everybody right now, man, kill that like button. Hit that like button right now. Whether you're watching it on Facebook, on YouTube, or Twitter/X, every like and every share certainly does help. And a big thank you to our partners here on the program, Honest Hammer Custom Builders, LLC, 813-244-0956. And, of course, Evara Health. We have our Evara Health Injury Report coming up at 12:30. Just spoke to Russ before. I didn't get a chance to answer. I hope he's watching. But, Russ, I saw your text right before I hopped on air. They got a new custom build that's going on right now that's pretty freaking badass. You got to go check that out, man. Legit. And then also wanted to make sure that we showed some love to our guy, Coach Alex Golesh. Just an unbelievable discussion yesterday. Not a discussion, it was just something that I brought up of why he's been so successful. And I just tell you to go back. I just posted it on all of my social media platforms about 2 minutes on Alex Golesh and why he's been so successful. And it's more than just what he's done on the field. It's off the field, the X's and O's. Like it's more than that. It's how he's been able to motivate these young men, how he's been able to get the most out of them. And when he mentioned a guy like Jarvis Lee, who I love watching him play. He's probably one of my favorite players on the team. And how he was mad at the world when he first stepped on campus, and now he's a leader and he's thriving. Like that's the kind of impact that you have, and you're hoping that when you're coaching these young guys and gals, that you lead them in a better place when they leave your program than when they entered. And I think that's what we're starting to do here with Alex Golesh, and that's what we're starting to see with South Florida. It's just really exciting, to see what it's all about. And we know that it's part of the gig with him moving on maybe one day. And we know how until USF is in a bigger conference, this is always something that you're going to have to deal with. But I think not just the success, but the way that USF has been successful. That's why people, have that trepidation of like, we don't want to lose a guy like that, because you saw how bad it was with Coach Jeff Scott. Alex Golesh comes in and completely changes everything. This team's going to bowl games. They're bowl eligible. And it's super impressive. And just to be able to watch them do their thing and to see these young men, especially the guys that came here, a guy like Mac Harris, who committed here when Charlie Strong was the head coach. Think about that. Think about, Yo, Jay and fam, want a visitor? I'm in the house where Billy right now. We got our interview coming up, bro. We'll definitely do that soon, buddy. But Leo Fernandes is about to give us a call right now. What was I saying? Oh, just about Alex Golesh, man. And Mac Harris and what these guys have been able to see. Mac Harris especially, being here from the Charlie Strong days, and then now to be able to stick with it. Like, it was incredible, man. It really was cool to be able to see a young man like that stick with it, stay focused, stay locked in, and then now he's reaping the benefits of that patience. And too many times nowadays, I mentioned this the other day with Harry Maguire from Manchester United. When you look at, it's easy to kind of, all right, I'm going to go somewhere else. I'm going to transfer here. I don't like what people have been saying about me. I mean, this guy was dealing with bomb threats and death threats to his family. He stuck with it. Now he's coming out the other side. Incredible. I love when guys stick it out through these tough times. And when they come out the other side, man, I'm telling you, it's certainly a character builder. Speaking of good characters, speaking of great guys, my man, Leo Fernandes, joining us here on the program. What's going on, my brother? How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, buddy. I'm so grateful that you took time out of your day to join us today. I was telling everybody yesterday I was going to sign off at about 1:45 yesterday, but I knew that the big announcement was coming out at 2 o'clock, so we stayed on just so we could talk about it, so I could show you some love. There's a lot of people that, I've been working in the Bay Area now for 11, 12 years in the media side, and there's such a distinct gap between the media and the athletes, but there's certain guys that you kind of cross over and you become friends with. And I feel like me and you, we've established a pretty good bond and we've become pretty good friends. So I just wanted to say I'm grateful for how you've always treated me and just how you've treated everybody. Like I see how you treat all your teammates and all the fans. And man, to hear the announcement of your retirement yesterday, I got choked up, brother. I got choked up because I know how much this game means to you. So first off, thank you for our friendship and everything that you've done for our Tampa Bay area, but just take us through the thought process of making this decision, because I know you didn't make it alone. The boss, Emily, had to sit on the convos too, wasn't she?
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, first of all, no, thank you, right, for everything you've done for me and just covering the team. You are always a pleasure to talk to and work with. But yeah, speaking with the boss, I think honestly the boss wants me to keep playing. But
he's like, get out of the house, stay out of the house. We're good here.
She wants me to keep playing, but I keep telling her, no, I think it's time. And obviously, I didn't go into this season thinking this was going to be my last year playing. But I think just the way that the whole year went down and me not really being able to stay on the field as much as I wanted to be, kind of just helped me make the right decision. And I think it's just time. I've had a great career from a kid that came out of Stony Brook, got drafted and played 13 years. So I think looking back at it, it's a celebration. And honestly, obviously there's highs and lows, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Was there one thing that happened this year? Or was it kind of a progression of like not being able to stay on, coming back, and then having to go and then train? Was it just kind of it building up to a certain thing, or was there one thing that happened where you're just like, all right, man, this is going to be it? Because when you put so much work and I've had this conversation with others, athletes as well, and the sentiment was, Jay, when you have to work so hard just to get onto the field, it's just it takes a lot out of you.
Yeah, I think, like you said, especially this year, starting the year off pretty healthy, being on the field, and then towards the summer can feel myself not feeling like myself and getting these little nagging injuries that were keeping me off the field. And I was just feeling like I was spending more time in the training room than on the pitch. So it kind of helped my decision a bit. And I've been working towards the future for a long time now since I had my major injury. So I think for me it was time to move on and start the next chapter. And I believe that whatever I do in the next phase, I'm going to put the same amount of work ethic that I've put my whole entire life into, being a professional soccer player. So I'm super excited for the next chapter. And I hope that I can be as successful as I was in my playing career.
No doubt, man. You're going to be successful in whatever you put your mind to. I have no doubt about that. We'll talk about what's next here in a bit. I want to ask you about that big injury because I was the guy that had the fortunate, I was the one that broke the news that you were coming back and that you were going to be in the squad that day. And I remember you getting hurt, and I remember seeing it, and my heart dropped in the bottom of my shoe. And I know how hard you worked to get back. When you were able to finally come back after that Achilles injury, I mean, we talked about the surgery. I mean, we talked throughout the entire process. But when you finally were able to get back out there, I mean, what was that feeling like, knowing that you put all that work into recovery, and a lot of people didn't know that they were going to see you that season?
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. I think for me, it was one of the most memorable moments of my career. The Achilles injury was something really, really tough. It was a very tough injury. And it was my knock on wood, it was only my only surgery in my career. And to be fair, it was a tough one. It was a grind. It was really, really tough to come back, and I didn't have a day off at all, those 9 months. And to come back that year and the standing ovation that I got, it was something that I'm never going to forget. One of the best memories I have in my playing career was coming back from that injury and having that moment when I got subbed back on. And yeah, it was an incredible feeling. I still look back at that picture that I have. I have it framed in my house. So it's one of those great memories that I'll take with me for the rest of my life. And it's a story, and it's one of those where I'm resilient, I'm fighting back, and I was able to come through and make it back on the pitch.
Yeah, and that's one of those things like you show your kids one day, right? Like you go through these things and it doesn't work out, and then all of a sudden you're like, hey, you can battle all the way back when it doesn't seem like there's bright days ahead. Take us through the MVP season, brother, because I do my thing every single year where at the end of the season or the end of the calendar year, I do my top 20 sports stars of Tampa Bay. And it's players, it's coaches, it's front office members. And I've been doing it about 7-8 years now. And the only member of the Rowdies to make it in the last 7 years was you, which was incredible, man. It was incredible. And your MVP season, just whatever you did on the pitch, man, assists, goals, it's just what was flowing for you? What was working for you so good that season that it just seemed like whatever you did, every time you stepped on the pitch, something good was happening?
Yeah, I mean, that year was incredible. At the time, I think it was one of those where you're just going through, I wouldn't say going through the motions, but you're taking it day by day and making sure that I am prepared to perform on the weekend. And I remember with Neil Collins, it was one of those where, like, if I don't perform, I'm going to be benched. So I had to make sure that I was on my A game every single day. I got switched to a position that I really enjoyed playing when I was in Philly or I was in college, attacking midfield, and I wanted to keep that spot. And every game, I managed to do something good, score a goal or an assist, or sometimes 2 goals or 2 assists. So it was an incredible season. Looking back at it and looking at some of the highlights, it was just like, wow, that was a good goal. That was a nice assist. And at the time, you probably couldn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to, just because we were fighting for the top seed at the time. But yeah, looking back at it now, all the memories of that season, it was an incredible year that I wish we were close to winning the Eastern Conference. Obviously, we lost in the overtime and in the playoffs and the finals. But overall, you look back at it, and it was just a phenomenal year.
Yeah, unbelievable season. One of the best individual seasons we've seen from any athlete here in the Tampa Bay area. I call you guys the core 4 because you've been there so long. But what has it been like to be able to share these moments with Lewis and with Forrest and with Aaron? I mean, you guys have been there. I mean, some of the longest tenured, professional athletes here in the Tampa Bay area. I know how close you and Lewis are, but just to be with those 4 guys, I mean, how much are you going to miss them and just reminiscing on the memories that you guys were able to have with the Rowdies?
Yeah, it's tough, but I think my point of view is it's a celebration, right? I think we enjoy the memories that we have. We'll never forget them. And those are my brothers for life now, right? I think whenever we see each other, no matter if it's on the, football, watching a game of football, or just, at an event, I think we'll always have those memories. We'll always have that bond of brotherhood, and we'll be able to say that we achieved something here in Tampa Bay. So, I love those guys, and I wish them the best. I hope they keep playing for as long as they can. I know that they still got a lot left in the tank. So I'm just excited to see what they're going to do now.
How great was it to be able to play against your brother this year?
Yeah, it was great. It's so funny. When I told my brothers that I was going to retire, he actually sent me a funny text. He was like, I'm happy that I was able to fulfill a dream of mine and to score against you and the Rowdies, the penalty kick shootout. And I'm just like, happy I can make that happen.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thanks, bro. So no, it was good. I mean, it was such another great memory that I'm never gonna forget. Right, to play professional soccer against one of your brothers. Yeah, it was a great feeling. And yeah, just another memory. Like I said, I'll never forget.
What has it been like to be able to, and the one thing that I love about the Rowdies, right there in the corner where, the families are always at, and Emily's there with the boys, and, how special is that? Because it's not like that everywhere, brother. I'm going to tell you, like, sometimes it's, there's a barrier and, there's a little bit of a high, like the Rowdies with you guys, it seems like they're so, they understand and they incorporate the families into this entire process. I mean, how great is that to be able to share these great moments professionally, but also to have your family right there to be able to share that with you?
Yeah, it's great. It's great. It gives you a purpose, right? And I think for me, it's when I step on the field, it was one of those where, like, if I score, I'm going to go celebrate my family. Like, that is one of my motivations. And it's nice to see that still going to this day. I think Manu scored last game and he went to go celebrate with his family. So I think it's super important to have, and that's just the community in the whole Tampa Bay area and the Rowdies, right? I've met so many good people here. I've made so many good relationships like yourself, that I'm going to carry for the rest of my life. And I think I've been so lucky to be here for this long, and I'm just going to, try to keep building these relationships because there's just so many good people around here.
Yeah, it's a couple of Long Island guys, you know what I mean? We got to come down here and we got to make sure we spread the good vibes. All right, so what's next? People want to know, are you going to be involved with the Rowdies? I know you got the Soccer HQ. We've talked about that stuff. So what's next for you? I know a lot more time with the family, but people are going to want to, inquiring minds want to know, Leo, what's next for you?
Yeah. No, so I've been, like I said, very, very lucky and blessed to be here for so long. And I was speaking to leadership here at the Rowdies, and they offered me a position to stay with the club. So right now we don't have the exact title, but I'm super grateful that I will be staying with the Rowdies organization next year and helping them, win on the field as much as I can. And I'm excited because I want to prove to them that I'm going to be just as good as a player, just as good as the players I was, that I'll do it in off the field. So I'm excited to show them that I'm an asset either way. So I just can't wait to start.
Do you have coaching aspirations in the future?
Yeah, I do. I told you before that I used to do some scouting for the youth national team.
Yep.
Still doing that, and I think I'm going to try to see if I can translate that into the pros. But for me, it's really right now just to make sure that I'm an impact on Saturday this weekend. Right. And then after that, hopefully we're in the playoffs. And then after that, then I can start really nailing down exactly what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, build up that CV a little bit. And then if you got to go to Manchester, if Ruben Emery doesn't work out, you can help out my United guys. Yeah,
I got the last name, right?
You got that right, buddy. All right, before I let you roll, man, we got to talk a little New York Knicks because, that's how we roll. You excited about – I mean, 1-0 after last night? You excited about this year or what?
This is the question I was waiting for, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, good win last night. No, I'm super excited. I think especially with how the season ended last year and then a couple injuries from other teams, I think the East is wide open and it's going to be a good year for us Knicks fans. We've had a couple good ones in the last couple of years, but I think this one's going to be really good.
Yeah, I'm excited too. Jalen Brunson, MVP candidate. I think it's deeper. The team's deeper. I think Mike Brown's going to use the bench more, which I'm really excited about.
I mean, yeah, everyone played last night, which is weird.
It was like, wait a second, more than 7 guys are allowed to play in one game? That's crazy.
I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
All right, so last one, Saturday night, Al Lang. Try to take me through what the emotions are going to be like. Can you try to put that into words on what that's going to be like, stepping onto the pitch for the last time, stepping off the pitch for the last time, celebrating your family? Like, do you even think about that kind of stuff before it happens, or do you just kind of, let it happen as it goes?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. A lot of people have asked me that already, and I don't know. I think I'm not sure what to expect. I think I'm at the mindset where let's just go and treat it as a normal game, right? I think we have to win. It's business as usual. If I'm needed, I want to come in and score or impact the game any way that I can. And hopefully we're in the playoffs and I can play more games with the Rowdies. But I'm always at the mindset where, I'm calm, cool, and collective. I'm not going to let the moment get too big, if that makes any sense. No, we'll see what happens though. I couldn't tell you exactly. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm excited. It's game day. It's going to be game day, so it's going to be fun.
Well, like I said in the beginning of our chat here, man, I'm so grateful for our friendship, and I'm so grateful that you've been able to be not just a great athlete, but also a phenomenal member of our community. Like, you're, the type of person that young kids can look up to and be like, I want to be like that guy. And you've always held yourself with such class and such dignity. You're an inspiration to fathers and husbands out there. And again, shout out to Emily and the kids and the entire Fernandes family. I know how close you guys are, but you deserve a proper send off, and I know for sure you're going to get one Saturday. So thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time today, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. So I'll see you on Saturday night, my brother. Congratulations on an incredible career, man. I'm so glad that we've been able to share that journey with you, my brother.
Thank you. Yeah, I just want to also give a big shout out to all the Rowdies fans. Ralph's Mob, Skyway, all every single one of them around the world. It's just been a blessing to play in front of you, score goals, assists, whatever the case is. But hopefully, if you're at the game Saturday, I see you. I give you a hug and we take a picture or whatever the case is. But I'm super excited to see everybody on Saturday.
Gonna be great, man. Congrats again, my brother. Thank you, and I'll see you Saturday night.
Thank you.
You got it, buddy. Go Knicks. Don't forget about that. Go Knicks, baby. Leo Fernandes, my guy. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. And, you meet all these great athletes and these, at these games and stuff. And it's just the relationships that you build with people, right? And he's just one of those guys, man. He's just such a great human being. Can you see, like, the difference? And it's just how many times. What is going on here? Hold on, guys. My keyboard is not working here. My keyboard is not working. This is not good. All right. Well, we're going to have to go keyboardless. We'll make it work. But I can't type anything for some reason. That's very strange. This is no good. All right. Well, hopefully I don't have to type anything. But I think it should be good the rest of the way. We'll see how it goes. But I think that's, like, honestly, the common thread, right, with a lot of different people out there is when you look at it, good people, man. Good things happen to good people. Really does. And Leo Fernandes is one of those people, man. He really is. Just like Coach Golos. We talk about common threads of people that are out there and trying to be successful. He's one of those guys. And I implore everybody to be able to go out there and support the Rowdies, the Buccaneers. The Lightning play at 5:00, so you can go to that game and head out to St. Pete and be able to go out and support our Rowdies, support our guy, Leo Fernandes. I will be there, and if you are, come by and say hello, and we will go from there. I'm kind of bugging out right now that I cannot type anything. When has that happened? I was just telling somebody the other day how great my computer is, and now it is not going so well. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. And I hope you are too, man. We're going to get into some Buccaneers talk a little bit later on, everything that's going on with the NBA and gambling stuff. I mean, that's pretty crazy to see who's going to be, Chauncey Billups getting arrested, right? To be able to see what's going on with Terry Rozier, like, I don't know, man. It's crazy stuff. Let me see. All right, so let's put this whole thing together. The doc will join us here in a minute. Dr. Carlos Rodriguez for our Evara Health Injury Report. Just want to make sure I have everything locked and loaded. But yes, shout out to Islip. You got the green and gold. Steve Cundiff in there. Shout out to Bart Hill and Eddie and the whole crew. Bonds last forever. You got that right, buddy. Good people. That's what we want to try to do here on the show. We want to be able to incorporate a lot of fun things, entertainment, education, but just want to surround yourself with good people, right? Birds of a feather flock together. We were talking about this during the Beckles and Recher podcast yesterday about treating people the way you want to be treated. And watching how other people treat other people and how you like judge them and say, man, you could be nice to people. Be nice to the people that serve you. Be nice to doctors and dentists and electricians and plumbers, like everybody. We should be nice to people, man. It doesn't cost anything to be nice. And we're going to be very nice to this guy because we love him. It's our guy, Dr. Carlos Rodriguez, as part of our Evara Health Injury Report here weekly, every Thursday at 12:30. Doc, what's going on, buddy? How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, buddy. You sound fantastic this week. I don't know. I think it might have been something on my end, but you sound crystal clear, my friend. Yes, man, plenty to get into today. But I want to ask you that. It's like a personal thing. How many, when you're around people and you're dealing with people, especially with your profession, because you're dealing with so many different people, do you find that common thread of people being thoughtful, of people being nice, if people just, because I tend to notice that the more successful people in the sports world, or the people are thoughtful and considerate, and they kind of go that extra mile. Do you notice that in your line of work as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think people, as you move up and as you interact more with people, I think people tend to be more thoughtful, nicer, think a lot about the decisions that they make and what the process of the interaction and the relationship. So absolutely, I agree 100%.
Love that. The other night, watching this Buccaneers game and seeing Mike Evans go down, Doc, I was so upset on Tuesday. Not as upset that they lost, because I know that's part of it. But with Mike Evans, when you see a guy hit, he smashes his head there on the turf. We find out that he's got a broken clavicle, but it definitely seemed like he was concussed there too, because he was laying motionless on the ground. When you initially saw that, or when you heard about it, like, what's your whole thought process on the Mike Evans thing? Because nobody mentioned, they're very careful of, before we get into the Mike Evans thing, I want to ask you that. We know that the word concussion is kind of taboo in the NFL, right? They don't like to mention that word, but it's, because they're trying to not highlight the dangers of a very physical sport. Have you noticed that too? Because I know there was the concussion movie with Will Smith played the doctor, but it seemed like he was concussed, but it seems like not a lot of people talk about. Is that word still kind of taboo in the medical field, the concussion?
I think, not as much in the medical field, because we know a lot more now about concussions than we did in years past. And we have protocols in place to return to play. The evaluation is a lot better in kids, the return to school, the return to academics, same in college. So there's a lot more knowledge now that we had before regarding recovery from a concussion. I think the stigma comes from if you mention a concussion, they got to go on concussion protocol. So that means they're likely going to miss the next game. Right. So we don't want to say anything that is a concussion until we're absolutely sure, because we don't want to activate the independent neurologist and everything else that is in place at the NFL level. But again, you have to be mindful that you have to identify these concussions early on. You have to treat them early on. The recovery is usually within a week in most adults. Sometimes it could be 2, but most adults, especially these guys, recover within a week. I think the other stigma comes, and you mentioned the Will Smith movie. The stigma comes from what happens if you have multiple concussions. What happens if you've suffered multiple head injuries? Is there a long-term effect from that? And the answer is there could be. There could be some consequences to that. That we talk about CTE, chronic traumatic encephalopathy, as a possible consequence of multiple concussions. That could potentially happen. Are there memory issues related to it? Are there emotional issues that are related to having multiple concussions? So there is a danger to the multiple issues and injuries that happen with it. In the NFL, it's a contact sport, right? There's a lot of head impacts going on. But funny enough, you look at Australian rugby, who can be just as physical, and the incidence of concussions in Australian rugby is minimal. So
why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
I think one difference is the way they tackle.
Right.
When you look at Australian rugby, they're leading with their shoulder, they're leading with the body, they never lead with their head. I think also when you don't have a helmet on your head, you tend to be a little more careful with how you hit.
Right.
Meanwhile, in football, you got this big helmet. Sometimes people think, oh, it's a protection. Could be a weapon, right? If I hit you with it. And the thing is that so far, no research has shown that wearing a helmet actually decreases the rate of concussions. The only equipment that was recently shown, and this was actually in hockey, there was a research that was done that showed that wearing a mouth guard may help concussions, prevention of concussions. This was only in hockey. So we can't translate that to other sports until we have the adequate research on it. But I mean, I always give the analogy to parents when they come in with a kid and they're saying, well, I want to buy the best helmet, the most expensive helmet. If I take an egg and I shake it, I'm going to scramble the inside.
Mm-hmm.
If I put a helmet on the egg and I shake it, still the inside gets scrambled.
Right.
Now I protect the shell. So the helmet is really there to protect your skull, protect your face, protect your nose, protect your bones from a potential severe injury. But the brain inside is floating in fluid inside your skull. If there's any sudden motion, whether you have a helmet or not, I mean, could helmets in certain technology dissipate a little bit of the force? Possibly. But so far, we don't have any strong medical research that shows that helmets decrease concussions.
Wow. That's incredible, Doc. Thank you for that information, man. Because as somebody for myself, and I told you about one time in hockey, I got one and I got into a car accident one time, and I was on another planet, man. And it's crazy, man, because no matter what you're wearing, one of them I was wearing a helmet, one of them I wasn't wearing a helmet, and I was concussed pretty bad. All right, so take us through the Mike Evans injury, Doc, from what you were able to see in that process, because it was kind of weird when he fell. Initially, you didn't see the head, in live action. We were thinking, oh, maybe he fell on the ball and he got the wind knocked out of him. But man, it just didn't look good. And then when they're walking him off the field, you're just like, regardless, I don't think anybody's thinking clavicle at that point. They're thinking, oh my gosh, she's concussed. We know now that it was a clean break and it's a broken clavicle. So what were you thinking during that entire process? And then I'll ask you after that how long we think Mike could possibly be out.
Yeah. So definitely, I mean, when you see him, he's slow to recover. He's laying there. Again, you don't have to be hit on your head to suffer a concussion. So just the impact and the change in direction, then the contact with the ground, just hitting the ground can just cause it. So then you're thinking, well, I hope he's okay. I hope the spine is okay. I hope he's not a severe neurological injury. And then you see him get up. He's got a little bit out of sorts. So definitely at that point, you're thinking, yes, concussion. And then you see them hold the arm and kind of hold that arm also on that clavicle. So then you're looking at, well, it's a little more than a concussion. And a concussion usually, as I said, most people are recovering in a week. There's protocols in place. The NFL has a protocol in place. So most players usually may miss a week, or if they complete the protocol, may come back the following week. But now with a broken clavicle, it's completely different. So most clavicles heal without surgery. Usually we don't need surgery for them, but the process is a long process, 6 to 12 weeks for recovery and return to full function. Usually spend 2 to 3 weeks in a sling first, just to allow the bone to start to heal. And then you got to allow that fracture to mature. You got to allow the motion for the shoulder to be painless. And especially in a position like Mike plays at wide receiver, he's constantly got to raise his arms up, receive balls barely above his head. So it becomes very painful if you're dealing with a clavicle fracture. So in most professional athletes, they may opt for surgery. So again, a plate and screws are put in there, stabilize the fracture, and may shorten the recovery by about 4 weeks. So then you're looking at somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks to be out post-surgery with the acceleration of the recovery process, because now you got more stability because you got a plate and screws there. Mm-hmm. So either way, you're looking at him being out likely the rest of the season. He could be back maybe the last game or two of the season. But I think mostly the Buccaneers will look at it. If we're making a run into the playoffs, let's save him, and then we'll have him play in the playoffs.
Do you have to get to a situation where I don't want to say build up to it, right? But like once he goes out there, is it just he can't? It's not like, all right, hey, you got to like knock some of the rust off. Like he's got to be. It's hard, right? With these broken bones, I feel like we talked about it a lot the last couple of weeks with a bunch of different guys. You got to be able to do everything else, right? You got to be able to try to get some game speed. He's already dealt with a little bit of the hamstring injury. So man, this is just something that you're not going to know, right? You just have to let it heal, and you just keep looking at it, right?
The key to it, to prevent what we call a frozen shoulder, or basically your shoulder gets stuck, and that can happen, and that can take 6 to 12 months to heal, is early mobilization. So usually, again, you spend a couple of weeks in a sling, and then it's therapy, motion, mobility, and then eventually, as the pain gets better, it's recovery of strength. Because with a lot of these injuries, the one thing we don't think of is these guys getting mobilized. These guys are very big, very muscular, and you lose muscle mass very quickly when you're inactive. So that's one of the key portions also. Then the recovery period is not only recovering your range of motion, not being in pain, but now your strength, which is so important for this guy, especially at a wide receiver. You got to have strong hands, strong arms, strong shoulders, because you're going to be hit right as you receive that ball, and you got to be able to continue to maintain possession.
Does that add time to the timeline then, Doc, because of the sport and because of the position?
Probably not a lot of time. Again, if they do surgery on it, 6 to 8 weeks as far as recovery time. I mean, that really takes us towards the end of the season, which is what they've been saying. Without surgery, it is a lot longer because you do now have to let that bone fracture mature. Right. If you don't have a plate and screws in there, it just takes longer. So then you're looking at close to a 3-month recovery period. So then he's gone for the season.
All right. You were one of the first guys and probably one of the only guys that has been all over this Chris Godwin injury. And it doesn't look like he's going to play again this week, Doc. And, they're saying that it's the fibula. And you said that it could be one of two things. It could be some of the issues where, he has the hardware there. So it's a stress either on top or on the bottom, or a bone bruise. Can we eliminate the bone bruise now that it's been this long? Because it seems like if it's 3 weeks now, right?
I think now you're looking more stress type injury to the fibula as the likely possibility. Again, a stress injury on the bone is a fracture. So at that point, you're looking more at 4, maybe even 6. I mean, one of the things that the surgeons have to evaluate is, do we have to remove some of that hardware out? Is there an issue with the hardware in place? In which case, that's another surgery. That means a season. Hopefully, the hardware is stable and the stress is not affecting the hardware that's in that fibula. And it's just a matter of letting it heal, letting it mature even a little more. As far as return, he hasn't been placed in IR, so I still think he's week to week on this. He's missed now several weeks, so not listed to play this weekend. Maybe another week or two. Maybe he gets another evaluation, maybe another MRI to see what the status is of that fibula before they make a decision. This is going to take, I would say, at least a period of 4 to 6 weeks for healing.
And that's from the beginning. So he's already 2-3 weeks into that.
Right.
Man.
Right. So he's about halfway there.
So give me the range then. Give me best and worst case, just because people want to know, right? Like this isn't your typical hamstring or typical, like this is one of those things where he came back. So give me the range, Doc, of best case scenario from what we know. I know you're doing the best you can. From what we know, best case scenario, worst case scenario for Chris Godwin.
So best case scenario, and I think the Bucs have a bye next week.
Yes.
So best case scenario, he comes back after the bye. That's best case scenario. You're giving him already 3 weeks out this week, bye week, 5 weeks. So best case scenario, the fracture at that point or the stress injury has healed enough that you can give it a go, see how it goes in practice. And is he able to sustain through practice and have no issues? He's back the week after the bye. Worst case scenario, he's had another 4 weeks.
Out another 4 weeks. Is there any possibility he could be out for the year then if the hardware is that bad?
If there's any indications that either the bone is not healing or that the hardware is loose or any of those screws is loose in the area and they have to do surgery to remove any of the hardware, then yes, he's out the rest of the season.
Man, so is that one of the harder injuries to kind of decipher like what's going on, because you just don't know, like the bone healing. Like I'm sure that the Buccaneers and their medical staff, they didn't think, I knew they probably knew it was a possibility, right, Doc? Something like this would happen. Yeah. But I mean, you're not going to run him back out there for a couple of weeks after all the time that he missed, right? And right. Think something like this was going to happen. Take us through that thought process, because I know, again, people are pessimistic. They'll go, how the heck did he run him back out there and he injures? Did they bring him back too soon? So what do you say to people that bring up that question? Did they bring him back
he was close to a year out from the surgery, about 10, 11 months from the surgery and the initial injury. And we talked about this before. Usually it's about 9 months post-surgery, the recovery process. So, I mean, and he's going through rehabilitation. He's going through practices. He's going through drills. And you're looking at how's your pain? Is everything stable? Are you having any issues? The problem is now on game day, and now you're looking at getting hit, impact, more stress, more plays. That could potentially accumulate. And the other thing we don't know, did he get hit? Was there a play in any of the 2 weeks who actually was hit right there where that hardware's at, and that created that stress injury? That's a really good possibility. He got hit right in that area again, and it caused a little bit of a stress injury on the bone. So it's not a matter of bringing him in too early. It's just a consequence of the type of sport he's playing. There's contact, there's a lot of stress to the area. So whenever you're recovering from a fracture, most fractures, the bone tends to be stronger because it's thicker where the fracture is at. But again, we have hardware now in these areas, and we don't know if the area of stress is above or below where the injury was, which to me is potentially where the injury is, because that's where the bone is still weaker. Where the plate is at, where the screws are at, that bone is thicker, is stronger, but there's a lot of stress above and below where that injury is at. So any hit around that area could potentially create a crack on the bone. It's a really thin bone. And now you're waiting for it to heal up.
Like when you were telling me about that, I was trying to make some kind of analogy in my head, and I thought about it almost like a belt buckle, where the belt nearest the belt buckle, because there's always that stress, is the part where, if anything, the seams are going to come out there, where if you go 3-4 inches down, that's the strongest part of the belt. Is that a decent analogy for me?
Yeah, you can think about it that way. I mean, the other thing is, like, you think of a scaffolding, right? If you have a strong scaffolding, the weakest part of the scaffolding is going to be at the bottom of the scaffolding or at the top of the scaffolding. In the middle of the scaffolding, it's going to be pretty strong because you got a lot of braces running through it. So it's kind of the same concept, where the hardware is at, it's really strong. You got screws, you got plates, everything there's really strong, but the areas above and below that are still prone to injury. So that it may be that it's just above and below. And I gave you an analogy last time about having spinal surgery, when they have a fusion done and you create basically a bigger bone out of two bones. When you fuse two vertebrae together, now the area above and below that become under more stress. Usually we see that there's even more injuries above and below where that surgery is done.
Emeka Egbuka did not miss any time, which was kind of wild, because we're used to now, all right, hamstring injury, guy's going to be out 2 to 3 weeks. Like, we've seen it, but the kid's able to come back, Doc. Without knowing, I mean, how much of it has to do with maybe he was being a little bit too overcautious, right? Maybe it was just a little tweak. How much does his age have to play into it? Maybe it's just certain genetics where some people heal quicker than others.
I think that point that you made right there is perfect. Age. He's young, so his recovery time is going to be a lot faster, and we don't know that he had prior hamstring injury, so this is his first injury, which tends to heal a little faster too. And if he had a grade 1 sprain, a week to 2 to recovery is absolutely fine. Now, he didn't practice yesterday, so I don't know if they are giving him a little more time.
He's practicing today, which is a good thing. So I think they're kind of not pushing the envelope a little too fast either, by allowing him to have some practices off, because they don't want to really have that re-injured. So I think when they're looking at practices, they're looking at, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Are you feeling anything? Are you feeling any pain? And then he's working with the trainers on stretching and strengthening. But I think age is a big factor in the recovery, in him coming back that quick, where Mike Evans had a prior hamstring injury, a little older, so it does take a little longer to recover from that. So he should be fine to play against the Saints again, and hopefully he doesn't have any further injuries from it. Bucky Irving is the guy that we were talking about, his injury there with the foot and the Liz Frank, and it seems like the thing that's holding him out is the shoulder injury, Doc. I mean, this is an interesting thing for Bucky. It's one of the reasons why I was concerned going into the season of, he's not the biggest guy in the world. And now, like, I don't know if it was a weird picture. He had, like, it wasn't like a full whole like shoulder sling. It was like a sling like by the elbow. I never saw something like that before. What do you think he's dealing with, and how long do you think we're still gonna not see Bucky out there with the Bucs?
He could be dealing with an AC joint.
Okay,
probably a slight separation of the AC joint, and sometimes you wear those braces under your pads just to give you a little more stability. I don't think he had a dislocation. They would have reported that, and
Right.
I think the recovery time would have been a lot longer. So I think an AC separation is probably the likely issue, and maybe a small grade 1, or maybe a grade 2 separation, and they're just giving it time. I'm still concerned about the foot sprain, right? Because this happened September 28th, so we're about 3 weeks or so out from that. Right. Mid-foot sprains is still, to me, a 4 to 6 week type recovery injury. So I think it's a combination of the two. I think the shoulder is one of those things that's going to heal faster, especially you could brace it. You could give it some stability to it. The foot is a bigger injury because, he's a running back. So a lot of cutting, a little force, and you got to have that arch supported and be stable.
So after the bye, probably him too. Because by then it'll be 5-6 weeks for the foot.
Right. So, and that's what I'm thinking also. So that gives us this week out a bye. Is then about close to 6 weeks out from the injury, which puts the foot sprain injury right at the good recovery time frame. And the AC joint, as I said, if that's what it is, you could brace that and he could do fine. You could have maybe a little trouble receiving when you have a brace if you have to reach above your head. But if on handoffs and just carrying the ball, that shouldn't be an issue.
Doc, before I let you go, I want to ask you about the Luke Gedeke thing, because this is another guy that, is such a huge part of this team. And now we saw a report earlier today or yesterday, they're hoping that he's going to be back for the second half of the year. Any surprise that it's taken him so long to be able to recover?
No, again, he's expected to recover because this is also another foot sprain, right?
Yeah.
So he did it against the Falcons. He did play and re-aggravated it. So that's one of those where he came back a little too early, aggravated it again. So now we're looking again at maybe that 6 to 8 week mark after the re-injury for him to come back. So targeting the second half of the season, I think is fine for this type of injury. He was placed in IR, so we knew he was going to be out at least 4 weeks. So he's missed 5. So I think after the bye, it's likely he could come back, which was at week 9 at that point. But you still got to be careful because he did re-injure it in the Texans game. So you have to look at it, be careful, don't push him too hard, don't push him too early, because if he re-injures that area, he could be gone for the season.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. You have to trigger that, or you have to treat that as an entirely new injury, right, Doc? Like you can't. It's not like, oh, you got to almost start the clock all over again, right?
Yeah. With the re-injury, it's pretty much. You have the initial injury. You're thinking, oh, this is going to do great, and then you have the aggravation of the injury, which could create what may have been a grade 1 into a grade 2. So now your recovery time is even longer. So now you have to be very careful. Again, there's certain orthotics and certain things that he could wear to alleviate some of the pressure on the arch for the foot sprain. But to me, the best thing is just give it time, let it heal before you put him out there. See how he does in practices. Make sure he's able to push off and hold the foot and plant without any significant discomfort before you allow him to play.
All right, Doc, what do the Lightning got to do to win tonight? Come on, that's the real question.
Oh, man. Gosh, it's a tough season. Looking at the games, the biggest issue has been scoring. And getting shots. It's getting shots. So, with Kucherov being out, that does hurt some of the offensive machine and the weapons. But someone else has to step up in creating shots. I think the creation of shots is where they've been struggling. The defense is doing well. It's just if we can't shoot, we're not going to score, and it's not like we're losing by huge margins.
Right.
So I think if we can get the scoring drought and the shooting drought fixed, we had a great preseason. Everything looked great in the preseason.
Right. Unbelievable. Doc, we're getting everything from Doc, man. Hockey analysis too, man. This is what happens for our weekly Evara Health Injury Report with Dr. Carlos Rodriguez. everhealth.org. Everybody out there, make sure you check the website. We look at it almost every day, 17 locations. in Pinellas. They do so much, man, from the cradle to the grave. They can help you out so many different ways. It's such a wonderful place. Can't wait to go back there. I'm actually heading over there to see Doc next Friday so he can take a look at my knee and my ankle and try to get me back on the softball field. Well, I got to do something. Doc, remind me, because I want to get you up to the press box one of these days over at the arena. I wanted to introduce you to everybody and bring you up there. So I'll definitely be in touch. Good. I won't be there tonight because I got baseball practice. I got to be careful with the arm because then I might have to go see you for another one of my
something else.
Yeah, Doctor, you're the best.
We gotta be careful.
I know you. I gotta wrap myself in bubble wrap before I go out there. Doc, you're the best. Thank you so much for your time. This is our favorite segment of the week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the game tonight. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. Come on, guys. I mean, really? I mean, look at Sergio. I want him as my doctor. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. EveraHealth.org. Go check it out. Hashtag Doc knows. Dr. Rod, David Terry knows. Honest Hammer, our other sponsor on the program, our partner. He knows all about scaffolding. He loves the analogy. He loves that 100%. What a great explanation. Look at our guy, Rolly. This must be the best segment in sports broadcasting right now. What a bulk of information. The story about the helmet blew me away. Always clutch when you have the doc in the house. The doc is also great at hockey analysis. Wow, I want him as my doc. Come to Costa Rica. We need a good doctor here. No, Greg, he can't go there. We need him here. And David Terry, always top-notch stuff from Dr. Rod. Outstanding stuff, Doc. Thank you very much, Dr. Rodriguez, the man. He's a great point, man. And listen, a lot of people, nobody was talking about the Chris Godwin injury, right? Everybody's like, oh, I just re-injured it. Nobody's dealing with the specifics like we are with Dr. Rodriguez during our Evara Health Injury Report every Thursday. And that hardware and what he's been dealing with, that fibula injury, I mean, you just don't know. And that's why I asked Doc about the best case scenario and the worst case scenario. And like Doctor said, we don't know. He might have got hit. He might have got hit there in the hardware, and we don't know. We're hoping that Chris Godwin can come back. Of course, personally, you want it for the guy, or professionally, we want it obviously because he's a receiver for the Buccaneers. But personally, you did all of that work to come back. You're out for a freaking year, and then you come back, and then you play 2 games, and then you're out again. So for him, hopefully, it's the best case scenario and we see him. It'd be great in the next month, in the next 4 to 6 weeks. We're talking about other players that aren't on the Buccaneers. I mean, it's so great that we have Doc with us to be able to talk about all these injuries for the Buccaneers. So for the sake of our injury report, it really does hit home. I don't know if it's for the benefit of our team, but listen, we're going to be with you every step of the way, every Thursday at 12:30. Dr. Rodriguez, you are the man. Thank you so much, brother. This is just an unbelievable segment on our show. And it really it gives you guys, and listen, I thought it was good the first time we did it. And then we saw all the feedback and we're seeing it every single week. We're going to continue. And this is why I tell all you guys out there that are watching, make sure that you're sharing this on your social media platforms. We're going to be saving the injury report every single week. We're going to put it out there on YouTube, put it out there on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. This is the kind of stuff that you want to know. And for so many different things in sports nowadays where everybody wants to be this hot take, they just want to say things that they don't really mean. There's still a place for education and informative discussion when it comes to sports. Doc and I aren't lying. We're not just saying things to say things. He's not making this stuff up. This is what he knows. This is his background. This is what he went to school for. This is his thing. Right? I want to be informed. I want to be a better sports fan. I want to be a better sports host. I want to speak from a position of knowledge. And if I don't have that knowledge, we're going to bring people on the show that are going to be able to help us and to be able to disseminate that information so we can all be smarter sports fans. That's exactly what Dr. Rodriguez does every single Thursday at 12:30. Well, he does it every other day too. I'm just saying with us, he does it at 12. He does it 12:30 right here on the program, the Evara Health Injury Report. Great stuff there as always. Man, unbelievable. And Sergio said, I would think if they would have said already if Godwin needed surgery, that's what Doc was saying. It's like, we don't know that as of yet, which is, I guess part of that is good. Because if he needs another surgery, he's probably done for the year. But we didn't know that. We don't know that unless Doc tells us. Unbelievable stuff. Unbelievable. No way. got some. I didn't see that. Hold on, just going through some things here. Bum, 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 bum. All right. Josh Grizzard. Just going through all the different things. All right, our guy Denard Span is going to join us here in a couple of minutes. We're going to talk some baseball, some World Series, and also the big event coming up for the Denard Span Foundation. You guys know how important the Denard Span Foundation is to me, to be able to help out single moms here in the Tampa Bay area. And Denard has been doing that, man. He's been fighting the good fight, and he joins us here on the program now. Our good friend Denard Span, who led the National League in hits in 2014. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Say it again one more time. I need to hear that. I haven't heard that in a while.
He led the National League in hits in 2014. Bro, I look back I was just looking through some things last night, and I go, bro, you led the whole league in hits. For every little kid that has played Little League, you always think about, all right, bottom of the ninth and blah, blah, all these things. But I always look at it. That's, of course, the New Yorker in me. I always look at Derek Jeter like, oh, he couldn't do this or that. I'm like, bro, there's less than 10 people that have ever walked the planet that have more hits than him. Yeah. Bro, in 2014, out of all the good players that were in the National League, all the guys that'll be Hall of Famers, they were all-stars, and nobody had more hits than Denard Span. How does that feel?
Yeah, I mean, in 2014, I was him. That was a magical year, man, and it felt like, I was honestly like beginning to put things together in my career. I think that was my age 30 season, and then at the end of that year, I had a bunch of injuries, and I just could never recover and be the same player. But yeah, it was a beautiful feeling just to know, night in and night out, I was contributing to the team and just doing my job as the leadoff hitter, setting the table, stealing bases, and scoring runs.
I'm glad you posed it like that, because something that Ian and we've spoke about for years. He goes, Jay, there's your physical peak, right? And then at some point you get older, right? But there's also your mental, where you're learning, right? So your mental's going up. So as you get old, the people that kind of meet here and can ride out their physical peak and their mental peak. That's why I brought up a good point, like Patrick Mahomes. Like he reached, it looks like, his mental peak really early, and now he's still in his physical peak, and that's why he's been so good. Where was that the year where your kind of mental and physical peak met? Yeah,
without a doubt. Like I said, age 30 is my second year in DC as a national. I came up with the Twins. And so, when I went over to Washington, just everything came together. Just the messaging from the coaches, and just my experience and my wisdom on the field, off the field, how to prepare, how to recover. And that's the reason why I was able to go out there and have that much success. And going into 2015, I had two surgeries before the season even started. So mentally, I was locked in. I was ready to go. I only played 60 games that year, but in those 60 games, I hit over 300. I carried over from that success that I had in 2014, but just physically. Just all of the years of, running into the wall and the wear and tear on my body, it caught up with me. And what they say, a father time is undefeated. And so, I always say, man, what if I would have, maybe got to Washington 2 years prior to that, and I was able to play, at the level that I did in 2014 for 3 or 4 years, what could have been. But I say that, but I promise you, I have no regrets, and I'm grateful for the career and the run that I had.
What would you tell if you had an opportunity to talk to young Denard Span, rookie season with the Twins? What would you tell him as far as how to make your career the best it could be?
Take chances, take risks, trust yourself, and don't doubt that you are him. In 2014, like I said, I believed I was him. But it took, it took a lot of good coaches saying a lot of positive things to me in Washington for that to really click. I always knew I was talented. I was always one of the better athletes as a kid, but you go through that minor league process, that grind for 5 years and failing and getting your ish pushed in. You kind of lose some of that confidence that you always had. And so I think the first half of my career, even the majority of my career, I knew I was good, but I didn't know, I didn't believe how good I could be. I thought there was a cap. The cap was here, but in actuality, it was through the roof.
Yeah, I mean, just an incredible career that you had there in the pros. And, I'm so glad you got an opportunity to be able to come back and play for the Rays for a little bit and to be able to play in front of your friends and family. And, I know that's a very special moment for you. And now when you see like the World Series going on with the Blue Jays and the Dodgers, like, man, how cool is that to be able to see? Like, I just saw Don Mattingly, one of the guys that I grew up, rooting for. All these years as a player, all these years as a manager, all these years as a coach, finally get into the World Series. I mean, baseball really is about the journey, right? Whether you're talking about getting to a World Series or, getting to the big leagues, like there's some incredible stories in baseball that you don't necessarily see in other sports.
Well, I think that's why they say baseball, there's so many similarities and it's synonymous with life, right? Yeah. There's so many things that happen throughout the course of so many individuals' careers. You could write a book. Each player that's played, put on the uniform, whether you made it to professional or made it to the big leagues or not. Even if you just played at the youth level or in high school, there's a story behind why you fell in love with the game, why you continued to play the game, and when your days ended, you still continue to push the game forward. And so, honestly, I was surprised that Mattingly hadn't been to the World Series. Right. I'm thinking of, Yankees, and the Yankees have obviously been, so dominant. But it didn't dawn on me that, he had exited New York by the time, Jeter and Posada and that crew, were, off to doing great things and winning those World Series. But, man, baseball is such a humbling sport, man.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I mean, we talk about 1994 and the strike and, what that could have done for baseball if the Expos made the World Series. Does baseball still live in Montreal? But people forget, too, that on the American League side, the Yankees were the best team, and Don Mattingly was one of their best players. And then in 95, they lose to Edgar Martinez and Ken Griffey Jr. and Randy Johnson and the Mariners. And the next year he retires, the Yankees win the World Series. So baseball, just like life, it's all about timing. Somebody asked me this question today. I wanted to ask you the role of the hitting coach at the major league level, because by the time you get there, you kind of got your mechanics down. You're not making any wholesale changes. But if a team's not hitting, fans, media members, they always go, well, the hitting coach sucks. He doesn't know what he's doing. What are those guys working on? What is the role? Because you've been to, you played for a couple of different teams. Does it change from team to team? When I talked to our pal Brady North, who's no longer with the Rays, he goes, we were kind of like the rumble strips. Guys have a problem. We kind of just want to get them back, on track. We're not doing any really overhauls when it comes to mechanics. From the teams that you played on at the big league level, Denard, what was the role for the hitting coach? And when a team struggles, is it fair to put blame on that guy?
I think you hit it on the head a little bit with saying that, it depends on what type of team you have. Like if you're on a veteran ball club versus a young ball club. Like when I played for the Tampa Bay Rays, we were super young, right? And a lot of guys didn't have a lot of dirt under their cleats, and they have a ton of experience. So you needed a hitting coach that knew how to develop still, right? And knew how to talk to a younger demographic, if you will. But ultimately, I do think it is, very similar to being a manager in the sense of like you have to, manage personalities, know how to connect with people, and understanding that each person, each hitter, they think differently. You know what I mean? There's different messaging that you might have to, say to each person, to get through to them. So, but for me, like personally, my best hitting coaches that I had, they knew how to connect with me. Even if I was like way off in left field and saying something that maybe wasn't intelligent, they still made me feel like I was the smartest guy in the room, and they felt my pain or my struggle when I was going through it. So I agree with Brady North said as well. It's like, like as baseball players, as hitters grinding every single day, the ups and downs, like you are going to, steer, left and the game's going to take you down different paths. So trying to, get hitters and get, players back to what makes them great and what ultimately what helps them get to that level. That's a long-winded answer, but
no, you're right. You're spot on. And I'm curious now to hear your answer to this, because we have a lot of baseball moms and dads that watch the show, and you're one of those dads now, buddy. You're and I see the videos. Those kids, unbelievable swing.
Thank you.
What do you tell to some of these parents that are trying to, they try to overdo it. They send them all these different lessons. And, I think individual hitting lessons, not everybody's got a big league dad. So, sometimes, people want to put their kid in a position to just learn the right way. But what's something that you would tell parents that are trying to make sure that their kid can just adequately hit the ball and make sure they put the ball in play and put them in a position where they can just improve as they get older in the game? Keep it simple.
Keep it simple. Keep it fun. I do a lot of reps with my kids, but it's simple stuff. It's off. Majority of it's off the tee. I try not to get too complex in my messaging. I just try to keep it as simple as possible and make sure that, once again, they're having fun. Because the moment they stop having fun, that's when you lose them potentially. But yeah, I once again just keeping it simple. Keep it simple, and then consistency. If you want your kid to get better, consistently hit 25, 30 balls. I'm not saying every day, but 3-4 days a week. It's not rocket science. It really isn't. The more you do anything, the better you're going to get. Obviously, you want to hope that they're doing it properly. So if you're a parent and you don't have the necessary knowledge to teach a baseball swing, then you want to tap into your network. Go to your local hitting facility and let your kid get a couple lessons. But be attentive, watch what the coach is telling your kid and then bring it back home and do it yourself. Because I think ultimately, the coach is only going to take you so far. It's the voice of the mom and dad at home that's going to, ring louder than any coach.
Yeah, man, I'm coaching 13-year-olds now, and it's just like, it's about listening. It's about listening. It's about focus. It's about energy. You don't do that, man. It's going to be awfully tough to be able to be any type of competitor on the baseball field. How was it, man, working for the Twins this year and traveling? It seemed like you really, it was nice, man. It seemed like your journey was pretty cool. Took you to a lot of fun places.
Yeah, I really enjoyed myself this year. Yeah, I think I'm, getting to a point now where, I'm starting to embrace, being in the booth, being in the media space. And, it's challenging. It's very similar to, when I was playing on the field, playing baseball. But yeah, I've this past season, I learned a lot, and it's like a full circle moment. You know what I mean? Full circle in general. Getting a chance to travel and travel with the team and be in the booth and watch the game that I played for so many years, but watch it from a different bird's eye view and perspective. So it definitely, makes me appreciate, just all the things I was able to accomplish for sure.
Surprised they move on from Rocco?
Yes and no. The team obviously didn't meet expectations. Right. They didn't, play up to their capabilities. If you were to ask the fans, after 2023, they got over the hump, beat the Blue Jays. Instead of the team ownership, adding to the team, they subtracted from the team. I think they didn't re-sign Sonny Gray and one or two other people. You know what I mean? And so, did they still have talent and ability on that team? They still, had really good players, but they fell short. And so I think now, given the fire sale, they got rid of everybody at the trade deadline. So I think, I can see why now it makes sense. You know what? Let's bring in a new voice and just press the whole reset button on everything.
New owners for the Rays, moving on from Sue Sternberg. What's your take on the whole thing and the status of this team? Obviously, talking to a bunch of different people, these guys aren't going to come in and spend a whole boatload of money because they got to find a stadium. They got to throw money towards a new building, whether it's on the Hillsborough side or the Pinell side. But just your take on the Rays and the change in ownership. And it seems like there's at least a little more optimism going forward.
Yeah, I mean, you pay homage and respect to what Stu Sternberg was able to do in his time here. Whether you hate him or like him, you gotta tip your hat off. He still brought this city some memorable times and moments. In times that maybe you could scratch your head as well. So moving forward, yeah, like you said, there's optimism. You know what I mean? And I think if you're a fan, you got to have patience at first to see what this new ownership is going to do, and understand that Rome was not built overnight, so this might potentially be a long-term situation or process. But you hope that things turn out a little differently once the pieces are in place, and if there's an opportunity to win, you hope that they go all in. And that's something that, this last ownership, I don't think we ever got that. And I ain't no think, we didn't. We never got that as Tampanians. We never got, I can't recall a time where I feel like the Rays went all in on, trying to win, when they had a good product. Did they make some savvy moves and trades that set them up for the future? Yes, they did. And you were able to reflect and see what they did. But sometimes you got to, once again, like I said earlier, you got to take those chances and those risks and show your fan base, look, we're like what the Bucs did with Tom Brady. For that 2-year, 3-year period, they went and got AB and got Brady, all the necessary Gronk, and they said, you know what, we know this might set us back for 5 years once Brady leaves, but we have an opportunity now. And so I think that's even me being a fan of the game, being from Tampa, even if it's 10 years from now, if the Rays have a core group, I would love to see this new ownership take advantage of that by adding pieces and trying to go for it.
Are you surprised that the Rays aren't more popular? Like, I asked this to a couple of guys that were probably 15 years older than us in the Tampa Bay area, and I said, man, if I would have told you that the Major League Baseball will have a team here when you were a kid growing up and there wasn't one, and you wouldn't have season tickets, would that be surprising to 12, 15-year-old person? And they said, yes. You as a kid that grew up here playing baseball, playing football, playing around, playing sports with your friends, are you surprised from then until now that the Rays aren't more popular, knowing that baseball's popular? Because one of the biggest things that I don't get, and I saw this because I coached before I was in the media, was I've been to almost every baseball field in this entire state, and I see thousands of kids on a baseball field per week. And it's just crazy to me that it just doesn't translate to the Major League Baseball team. Is that a little surprising to you? I mean, if I would have told 12-year-old Denard Span, hey, there's going to be a Major League team here, and it's not going to be wildly popular, knowing how popular baseball is that surprising to you even today?
Yeah, without question. I mean, yeah, like you just said, I mean, with baseball being so rich in spirit in this community, you can name at least 20 guys that, have gone off and been great from this area. But I think the Rays have not done a good job at, once again, like going for it, right? And making the team, making it like marketing in the right way to make it cool and make it appealing and making the fan feel like, man, I can't wait to go check out, this player or the team in general. You know what I mean? Like you don't know, like as a fan, you're kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because you don't feel, all the way connected. And so, and from the Rays standpoint, how they've ran the team, because they're trading guys and they've had to run it a certain way. I get it, because once again, financially, they've had to do things, a certain way. But, when have the Rays ever had, superstars in their prime for like a 5-year period? You know what I mean? Now you think about the Lightning, like you can name 5 guys on that team that are studs, they're all-stars year in and year out. You know what I'm saying? And so I think that's part of it. You know what I mean? Just from a marketing and a player standpoint, them maybe getting in the community a little bit more, I think could help as well, and just making it more, I don't know, appealing to the younger generation.
Yeah, you got to be
everybody, not just the younger, just everybody. Make it more exciting.
No doubt about it. No doubt. I'm with you 100%.
How do you feel?
No, I'm with you, man. I just, and as somebody that has told kids for the last 20 years, don't root for the Yankees because I grew up a Yankee fan. Root for the Rays. This is your hometown team, and I've gone on record of supporting this team and defending this team and working with this team and really like carrying the flag for them, even though they haven't always been so great to me. I think promoting good vibes and promoting positivity when it comes to the Rays only helps our community. But I find it so weird, man, because again, I'm going to a tournament this weekend. I'm going to see thousands of kids on a baseball field. And I'm just like, don't tell me baseball in Tampa doesn't work. You're a good friend of mine. You went to Tampa. Addison Barger playing for the Blue Jays. I saw him play at King High School. Like we've seen Kyle Tucker. We've seen Lance McCullers. We've seen Peter Alonso. Like,
just said two names that are free agents this offseason.
Right?
You want to make baseball exciting in Tampa? Go sign both of them. At least one of them.
Yeah.
At least one of them, if not both of them.
That you got to do something, right? But here's the thing: is like you got to sign those guys in the prime. Like it would have been great to have 29. You just said 30-year-old Denard Span with the Nats. It would have been great to have 30-year-old Denard Span patrolling center field.
Yeah.
Right in the outfield, or go. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't want to get guys at the tail end of their career, and then it's like, all right. I looked at the other day of like who they traded you for, and it was just like, all right, like who'd you trade a Rosarena for? Like, all right, like Randy Rosarena was in the ALCS, but that's the thing. You said it. Like, I understand that's how they have to go about business because that's the way that they've structured it. But it's like you're not going to get people when you're always like, hey, well, you got a discount. Or, hey, we got 2 for $20. Like, that's cool and all, but like you're not going to get people coming back. You're not going to get people to want to invest their disposable income to be like, hey, I'm going to go to a Rays game and I'm not going to spend $120 on the jersey because I don't know if that guy's going to be here. Like it's scary, man. I know some people have. What's that?
It becomes an instant throwback jersey.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I saw somebody post one time a video of their closet and it was like Snell, Price, Archer, Kiermaier, Longoria. And it's just like, dude, you could have 5 years ago bought a Kucherov, a Hedman, a Point, a Sorelli jersey, McDonough. They're still there for the Lightning.
Yeah.
And that's and it's kind of a scary thing. Do the Toronto Blue Jays have any chance to win this World Series?
No. But they have I'm glad they won the ALCS because I believe they have a better chance, if there is a chance, than the Seattle Mariners. Just because their offense, their lineup, top to bottom, they do a little bit of everything. They're a lot deeper. They hit for power, hit for average, take their walks, take their singles. So just more of a complete lineup going against, that juggernaut starting rotation and pitching rotation for the Dodgers for sure.
That's what you're going to have to do. Put the ball in play, put the pressure on the defense, utilize your home field advantage. You can't go bop for bop with those guys. You can't expect Cal Raleigh. You can't go 3-run homer for 3-run homer.
No.
That's the thing that makes the Dodgers so good. Like, you look at their players, like, their best players put together great at-bats. So it's like, Mookie Betts is a great player, but he's also going to grind out a 12-pitch at-bat and take a walk and smile about it. Right? Like,
Freeman.
And Freeman's amazing. I mean, does Mookie Betts get enough credit? I think, in my money, like pound for pound, I think he, and I know Ohtani's great, Judge is great. My guy was playing right field for a crap ton of years, and he's playing shortstop.
And I just caliber,
bro. That's like people don't talk enough about that. That's different.
You know what? The only reason why he's not getting as much credit because he's playing with Ohtani. That's the reason why he's getting overshadowed. But if you take Ohtani off that team, I think everybody, first of all, people already know how great he is. Let's just say that. But because you're playing with Ohtani, it kind of gets overshadowed because every time, he gets on the field, he does something that we've never seen before.
Unbelievable. Was there one player you grew up with? Because we know when we were kids, the best player was the pitcher and the shortstop and the big hitter. Who was the best player that you grew up with that was like Ohtani? Did you have a kid like that?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Like when I was in middle school, 12, 13, this guy by the name of Ryan Tassona.
Okay.
He, we played at Central Park Little League, and I feel like I may be exaggerating, but I felt like at 12, he was already like 6'3". That's what it felt like. He was, just way more developed. He had a goatee at 12. he was shaving his underarms, and he was throwing gas, and then he would get up and crank a home run. So it was like, this guy for sure is going to be a big leaguer, do something unbelievable. So yeah, I did. I think we all have a story of that kid in Little League.
No doubt about it. Sorry, AJ Lepla, it wasn't you, buddy. All right, before we go, we got to talk about the reason why we're here, man. The Denard Span Foundation and the big gal that's coming up, man. And I know how much this means to you. It means so much to me to be a part of it. Can't wait to be a part of it again. But just tell everybody that's joining us maybe for the first time about the foundation a little bit, and then what you got coming up here in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, man. So, I started my nonprofit and my foundation. I would say year 3 of my career back when I was with the Minnesota Twins. I'm thankful to a veteran by the name of Orlando Hudson. He had his own nonprofit, and that's why I think, once again, I'm going off track, but the veterans in the clubhouse in that locker room mean so much. Because them having the experience and the wisdom of having a positive influence on younger players is unmatched. And so I'm thankful to him. He had a nonprofit. He invited me to co-host with him way back then, and then from there I got inspired. I got inspired to use my platform for something that was more and greater than being a baseball player. And so I started, my nonprofit then, and it was based upon how I grew up as a product of a single mother, being raised in a single mother household. And so, from 2010 up until now, we have been, just doing charitable things for, these kids and these moms. The last 9 years, we started our car program. Because here in Tampa, public transportation is not great. And also just in general, having a reliable transportation in a home is so important and just provides so much stability. So, that's what our main niche and our main program is helping these single mothers that are already helping themselves. They're already on the right track. They just need, a little bit of assistance to help take them and their families to the next level. And this is I was counting before we got on, I think year 9 of having, our fall winter gala. And so, we're plugging away, and I'm looking forward to this year. I'm grateful to you for, continuing to hang with us and grace us with your personality and your talents. And we're looking forward to it's going to be a great evening, man. It really is. There's going to be some good people there, and it's just going to be a great time.
Yeah, it's black and white affair, and there's some gold in there too. So you know what I'm bringing to the table, and they're getting delivered tomorrow. I got a little special something. I always got to get a fresh pair of kickies for the Denard Span, the gal out there. So we can always count up. But a huge hit last year was something that we did for the first time, and it was Denard and I just sitting down and kind of talking about his career, but talking about family and everything. And man, it was like I thought it was going to be good because we're buds and we've talked before. Like I've interviewed you before, but like when this too, being now that you're in broadcasting, when things work out good on the broadcasting side, when you walk off the stage or you sign off, like, initially how it feels. And when we walked off, I was like, damn, that was actually really, really good. And people were like, bro, that was fire. So we're going to do something similar again this year. But it's really cool. And how much does it mean to be able to have Annie there, to be able to have your mom there, and to be able to have the support of the Tampa Bay area? Because, I mean, it takes a village, man. As good as anybody.
It does. And, being a part of, team sports, you realize, like no man can do it alone. And we all need, support and help to accomplish everything or anything in life. And so, always having my mom, right by my side to encourage me and to push me to be great and to excel. She's been the catalyst for everything that I've ever accomplished. And now, on the flip side, on the other side of me, I should say, is my lovely wife. Like, she builds me up. She is my rib, my rock. Whenever, I'm having a bad day, she's there, with her beautiful smile and just uplifting me. And so she is, one of a kind and a special human being. I'm grateful, that God, put me into her life, or vice versa, however you want to say it. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting because she's gonna be on stage with us as well. As we are, hopefully we can be on our best behavior. You know what I mean? But she's a competitor, she's an athlete, and so it's going to be a great conversation, no doubt, with the two of us and you facilitating.
It's going to be great. DenardSpanFoundation.org. Go on there. You can find the link. You could do DenardSpanFoundation.org/dinner gala. You can get your tickets. It's 2 weeks from tonight, 6 to 9:30 over at Armature Works. It's an incredible time. The 2025 Driven Gala, A Journey of Hope, right there at Armature Works. This is one of those events where you got to say that you've been there. And there's so many dignitaries that have been there over the years. And just to be able to walk in the door and to be able to see so many, happy faces, so many people here in the Tampa Bay area, spread the word. And also, if you can't make it and you want to donate in other ways, if you can help out with anything with the Denard Span Foundation, everything is on the website, DenardSpanFoundation.org. When we save this video and put it up on the YouTube channel, it'll have the link on there. Over the next couple of days, obviously leading up into the event, I'll be sharing all the links on my social media platforms as well. So make sure, guys and gals, you can contribute in any way. Share it, because even if you can't make it or you can't donate, you never know, man. Sharing one time. One of my guys that I play softball with, Jose, I saw him. I was like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Well, I went to a fellowship thing with Denard," and you just never know.
Yeah.
And it's in Denard. Before I let you go, it's not what you know in this life and in this world;
Right.
It's who you know, isn't it?
You're absolutely right, and you never know, when you're going to potentially need somebody, right? And so that's why it's important, I believe, to treat everybody the way you want to be treated, and with respect. You know what I mean? Because once again, you just don't know where when or where you might meet that person again. And so yeah, it's definitely about networking and rubbing shoulders with like-minded people.
Don't forget, in 2014, he was him. He led the NL in hits, and he's still him today in 2025 and beyond. The one and only Denard Span. Again, DenardSpanFoundation.org. D, love you, man. Appreciate the time, and we'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Yes, sir. All right, man. Take care.
See you, buddy. The great Denard Span. Unbelievable human being. So glad to be a part of the foundation, to be able to help out whenever I can. I implore everybody to be able to go out there, DenardSpanFoundation.org, contribute, go to the event. It is a lot of fun. All right, let's get to some of the stuff. What are we talking about now? I'm still crazy that I can't type anything on my computer. I might have to end the show a little bit early today. Because of that, I got to figure out what's going on here with this. Yeah, it's still not working. All right. Buccaneer news. I'll get to that real quick before we leave, because I got to roll. Josh Grizzard. Said Detroit ran a lot of man defense Monday night. Copycat league. He said they expect to see more teams use that against the Bucs as the season progresses. Yeah, just a lot of different stuff with a guy like Josh Grizzard. Unbelievable play caller here. Pretty crazy stuff. Unbelievable. Just making sure we get everything. Yeah. Hold on, folks. I want to make sure you guys get all the information from Grizzard. Says the Saints do not play they're 1-6, especially on defense. They're really well coached. Pose a lot of problems. Grizzard says he has to give Baker Mayfield a chance early to build his confidence through efficient throws. Didn't help. They didn't have much of a pocket compared to other games. Despite that, Mayfield still took shots and stayed calm. Yeah. Stick with things and be patient. There you go. This is what I love. This is the one thing that I really wanted to hear from Josh Grizzard. He said his main takeaway from Monday night is trying to stick with things and be patient. He wanted to prioritize the run game more, especially in the first half. That's the thing right there. You have to be aware. You have to be cognizant that the balance is super important. Super important. You cannot go out there and throw the ball 50 times. You just can't. That's just not going to work. It's not going to work. For him, for the crew, okay, for the Buccaneers to be successful, you have to make sure that you're staying balanced. Stay balanced. All right, real quick. Stuff. Staying balanced is the key. I don't want to see Baker throwing the ball 50 times. All right, again, Dominic James in the lineup tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning. No Ed Encina. I know he's not going to be there. I won't be there either. So make sure you're following D'Andre Lou from the Hockey News. Follow Ben Pierce and Gabby Shirley from the Lightning. And, of course, our pal Eric Erlinson, lightninginsider.com. I can't even type anything. So, yeah, I can't really find out any other information for you guys. I have to work on that right now. So, hey, the Lightning, it's time to bounce back. Time to bounce back. It's time to start playing the right way and making sure you're putting yourself in a position to munch points early on in the season, because we haven't seen that. So it is what it is. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me, guys. I got to see what the hell's going on with this computer thing. I love you all. You guys are great. You guys are the best. Thank you to Denard Span. Thank you for Dr. Rodriguez. Thank you for Leo Fernandes for joining us on the program as well. Make sure you go check out my friends at Honest Hammer and Evara Health. They're the best. Got to love our partners here on the program. Follow me on all social media platforms at Recher. Like, subscribe on YouTube, man. This is another great show today, and we're going to continue. We got one more show tomorrow. It's a Football Friday, baby. Can't wait for that. We'll talk all things football, and then we'll get ready for next week. All right. I love you guys. I appreciate you all. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Go Bolts. And we'll see